Yeah, dude, 5 guns pointed at me. I'm like, whoa, fuck, dude.
Okay. Hello, people of the world. Welcome back to another episode of Sam Sessions. We're here in the Acoustic A Room of South Austin Music. Very special day today. You got the world's worst interviewer right here, Seth Welker. And to my right, good friend, Rod Gator.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Rod. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. It's a rough summer for people that wear black, but I'm all right.
You refuse to conform, huh?
Yeah, my Danzig phase, I chose the wrong summer for that.
Yeah. Well, maybe just like the wrong part of Earth.
Yeah,
To be
true.
wearing all black.
True.
It's rough out here. But
It
yeah,
is.
we're getting through. I find myself, when you start sweating inside the shop, it takes a long time to stop. Like,
Yeah.
even though you're still in the AC, you'll still be dripping sweat for
Yeah, I can imagine. That is how it feels at my place, too.
Right?
My cats are going nuts.
How many cats do you have?
3.
Okay, cool. No dogs?
I got 1 dog, belongs to my roommate, but yeah,
Okay.
I have 2 cats I adopted over 10 years ago when I live in LA.
Oh,
They're
no.
elderly cats. They're like 13.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So you brought up LA. That was one of the first things I wanted to talk to you about. I saw that, you grew up in Louisiana, and it seems, did you go straight from Louisiana to Los Angeles when you were 18?
I did. So I was 18, almost 19. My mom was a theater teacher, so I moved out there for acting.
Okay.
I started doing action stuff in Louisiana, like in the film world there, like
Right.
stand-in work. I almost booked a big role in a Lifetime movie when I was 18.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I moved out there for that, and then I started playing music like 3 years in,
Okay.
and that's all I really focused on after a while.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, but the first thing I was thinking is I've been in Louisiana once before. I kind of have a general idea of what it's like, and I've been to LA once before. And I can't imagine if you grew up and spent all your time in Louisiana and moved to LA, was there like a big scenery shock change for that?
Well, I had always dreamed of moving there, so it was more of an excitement than anything. And then, when I was a kid, you always sort of hate where you grew up. I grew to love it once I left it, but at the time, it was just like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Okay.
But
So you're
Well,
just
yeah.
excited to get out and
exactly.
move to LA.
I mean, it was a big change, but I felt ready for it,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's good to be ready for something big like that and not feel like you're thrown out of the water.
Exactly.
That's good stuff. So your mom being a theater teacher, is that really the main reason you wanted to act?
It was, yeah. We grew up watching movies, and she would explain to me like the symbolism and really get into it, and she kind of prepared me for it, and then more or less prepared me for writing songs too, which is kind of a similar thing for me, characters and storytelling and whatnot.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was always encouraged, obviously, to play guitars,
Mm-hmm.
and I fully botched that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I blame that on the fact of like a lot of times kids naturally rebel against what their parents want them to do.
Yeah, no one wants to practice as a teenager. I didn't
Okay.
want to practice anything.
Yeah. So, but that wasn't necessarily it for you. Your mom was into the acting.
Yeah, and
you kinda
I
stuck to
loved it
that.
naturally. Yeah, I always loved performing and whatnot. And
Right.
like I said, playing music was just another branch of that.
Right. So, how did you go from acting to getting into music?
I got a guitar when I was 19, I think, one Christmas when I came back home. And when I came back, I didn't really know anyone in LA, and I just kind of stayed in my apartment and messed around with it till I learned enough chords to try to put together my own songs and whatnot,
Okay.
And I remember I showed one of the songs to my buddy, CJ, who was an actor. He had been, done a lot of like soap opera work and whatnot, and we had buddied up, and I played a song for him, and he said it was good, so I kept doing it. If he said it sucked, I probably wouldn't have. I would have been like, yeah, it's just a weird phase I'm trying to do. But
Are you still in contact with that guy?
yeah, he moved down to Texas. He's in a bunch of stuff, Transformers. He was in a
Oh, wow.
big CW show back then. When
Which
I knew
one?
him. It was called Harper's Island. It was only
Okay.
for 1 season, but it's like a murder mystery thing.
Okay, cool.
He's a good guy, yeah. I've known him for a while. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people I lived there, I knew back then through acting, have all gone on to do great things. Like one guy was on Westworld. And
Wow.
it's nice to see those guys really doing well, and girls.
Yeah. Have any of those connections that you made assisted you in the music industry?
They have. So I got a national Toyota commercial like 4 years ago, and it came from a guy that was a fan of mine out in LA that worked for an ad agency. So
Okay.
that definitely paid off.
We are
Literally.
huge Toyota fans here. So hell yeah.
Yeah, I got a Prius in the parking lot.
Hell yeah, you do.
Hank Williams drove a Prius, dude.
Really?
No.
Oh. So I would have believed you. We just had a live auction here, and the auctioneer, he's like the classic cowboy guy, big old cowboy hat. He drove here in a Prius.
He gets it, dude. I mean, all the gas he saved. Like, I toured like January, February with the Super Suckers and Scott Byram, like all over the country. And I was just in my Prius opening acoustic, and it was great, dude.
Yeah, you can
Save
rock out
so
a
much
Prius.
money. You can.
Yeah, especially now with the gas prices. You know.
I got my heavy metal shop, sticker on the back, so it evens it out. It gives it an edge.
People have to know what's really going on the interior.
Gives it a slight edge, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got to be pretty comfortable with yourself if you're like, fuck it, I'll drive the Prius. It don't matter. Yeah, it's sensible. That's what the live auction guy said. He's like, oh, my vehicles are tools, so I gotta have the right tool for the right job.
No, he's right. Dude.
That's great. So you were in LA for how long?
10 years.
Okay, and so for 10 years, what eventually got you to move down here to Austin?
Well, every time I would tour down here, I loved it. I would play the White Horse, and I knew all those people, and it would be on a weekend, and it was just, I loved coming down here and playing. And I had buddies down here that also, I loved hanging out with and making music with. Yeah. So it just kind of felt like a natural thing. And I mean, now that I've lived here, I get health insurance through him. And I never had any of that when I lived in LA, Yeah. Chronicle's cool, Kevin Curtin, all those people. Obviously, places like this, like, I just feel more like, I don't know if accepted is the word in Austin, but I definitely feel more at home.
More in your element.
Yeah, I loved LA. I mean, it was like my formative years, I didn't go to college or anything, so it was kind of my formative time in my life where I was figuring myself out. Right. Playing music for the first time.
Yeah. So you talked about White Horse. Do you still do shows over at White Horse?
I haven't played there in a while, but I know Busty Morris and all those people, and I like all those people a lot. Yeah. My music's gotten a lot harder since back in those days when I was touring, so they can't really like do-si-do to it,
Yeah, I hear you.
I still love that place though.
Yeah, White Horse is great, and Hotel Vegas, that's
Hotel Vegas for sure.
Yeah, so that's like all the east side of Austin, which seems to have had like a pretty decent amount of change in the last 5-10 years or so. Yeah. Whereas it's a lot more of a cool scene to be a part of now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that area. I love Hotel Vegas. I played there a couple times this summer. And that's a cool place.
I'll have to come see you play over there. That's my brother goes there like on a weekly basis for sure, but I tag along sometimes. Yeah,
there's a lot of cool, random groups that play there. Like the people that book it, they just book cool random stuff, Yeah. It's not like one sort of sound. I like it.
Yeah, that's great. And you talked about having health insurance. Was it through Hams? Mm-hmm. Hams? Okay. And I know Austin also has the program Sims, right? And that's like where they offer therapy for musicians and stuff.
Yeah, we need it.
Absolutely. So was that like kind of like a motivating factor to get into Austin because they seem to have support groups?
Well, I hadn't thought about any of those things before I moved here. I kind of discovered them when I moved here. Some of my buddies were taking part in those, and so I decided to, and I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about either one of those programs until I started doing these interviews and talking to musicians, and it's super cool. Seems really helpful.
Is. It's hard to ever leave here with support like that.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So you go by the name of Rod Gator. I know that. How do you pronounce your original last name?
Melanson.
Melanson.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. And so, did you change your last name after your last album, For Louisiana?
Well, it's a crazy story I got with this like hotshot management company. Mm. And they were telling me that, I knew my name was hard to pronounce. I remember being like 21 years old at this bar in LA talking to this drunk girl who worked in the business, and she asked what my name was, and I said Rod Melanson. She was like, that's never going to work. But I didn't think about it until years later. Yeah. But my dad originally wanted to name me Gator, and my mom said no. I wish she would have said yes, but I might have ended up in like prison with a name like that. I feel like you have to deal Xanax with a name like that. But I got with this management company, and they, talked me into changing my name, and, I felt uncomfortable about it for a while, and that ended on a sour note, that whole management situation. But I decided to keep the name, man, kind of like a fuck you to them, but also I had learned to like embrace it and kind of make it work in certain ways, promo wise. I started getting heavy into like, video stuff, and I'd always been into video stuff since I was a teenager, making movies, learning how to edit. I had some editing software I'd mess with.
Okay.
So with Rod Gator, I felt like there was more stuff I was able to do, like promo wise, like all merch wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a way to make it cool.
Yeah, so the stage name thing.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I'd agree for sure. I know it's made it a lot easier on me. I don't so much have trouble pronouncing names.
Well, you pronounce mine good. Yeah.
But when I get in front of a camera, I'm like too hypersensitive to it. So just
that was good the way you said it.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Scott clued me in on that about.
It's a hardcore Cajun name. I mean, there's like the Cajun culture. The names are pretty far out.
Right.
The only place I've been to where the names were made to be further out was Sweden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like Skyrim names, like Lord of the Rings type spelling.
Well, and I see, and they're two different places, and I always get them mixed up. It's embarrassing, but like Iceland and Greenland. I think it's Greenland.
Yeah.
They have names like Thor. Like there's a guy named Thor out of there, and it's like I didn't believe it was actually his name for the longest time. Yeah, it makes an underwhelming name like Seth Welker just that much
Seth
more
Welker's
pathetic.
cool, dude.
I'll make it cool one day, I'll put my own thing into it. So you have a song off that last album we just talked about for Louisiana called Chicken Hawk.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a war perspective song,
it is,
right?
Yeah.
Is there a story behind that? What made you write that song?
Yeah, well, a chicken hawk term is basically it's a person, usually a politician, or it doesn't have to be, that is like very pro-war, but when they had a chance to fight in a war, they, didn't. Like, whether it's, a person that had enough political power where they didn't have to get drafted, or they were able to get their son out of getting drafted. It was basically about Donald Trump. So.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was curious because you had to have some kind of first-hand experience with someone in the war, I would imagine.
I really revved up by the time I graduated high school. So I had tons of friends. I had a friend that fought in Fallujah. I had friends in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah. Some of them, died, but
wow.
It was, I was definitely, around during kind of the height of that war. So that's always going to, play a part in my writing and stuff. The same way Vietnam did for a lot of those bands in the 60s and 70s, and even Springsteen in the 80s.
Yeah. It's really cool to see you pay tribute to something like that through your art.
Well, you can support the warrior and not the war, That's kind of how I look at it when it comes to that whole situation. Yeah,
that's a really good way to think about it, for sure.
Yeah.
Your another song, one of my favorites, August 29th.
Yeah.
The song about Hurricane Katrina, right?
Yeah.
What was the, and if you haven't seen the music video for this song, please go check it out. It's an amazing song. The music video.
Hey, thank you so much.
Dude, it's so cool. How did you, how was like shooting that music video? What was that?
It was amazing. Like? So Josh Verduzco, the guy who directed it, we had been making promo stuff for a while. We made like a Snake Plissken promo. We made a Friday the 13th promo.
Right.
We had this good relationship like that. And he built that whole set by himself. I remember he was out there for like a week, and I showed up to check it out, and he was just drenched in sweat, very Apocalypse Now looking. And he had constructed this whole thing, this like small shed that could carry water that was kind of like a pool.
Okay.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah, it's nuts.
All props to him. Like, he's the one who built that whole thing, and then he directed it.
So I have a pretty good amount of ignorance when it comes to like the making and production of a music video. I was watching, I think his last name is Walden, the guy that had the guitar solo in that music video. But he was in a pool of water, like up to his knees. Was the guitar not plugged in? Are you not worried about like getting electrocuted or something?
No,
like,
definitely not plugged in.
Okay.
Hollywood it for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, man, these guys are like some rock stars.
Motley Crue it, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that one. I hadn't seen the music video until not too long ago, but it's definitely unique. And
check out the older videos, like a video we did for a song called Perry and stuff.
Okay.
It was all with this guy out of Kansas City, and it was very trippy, kind of David Lynch style stuff.
Yeah.
I got to rob there was a robbery scene, and we wore the like pantyhose on our head and had these like sawed-off shotgun prop guns.
What's this song called?
Perry.
Perry?
And it was me and two other dudes. One guy's playing Perry, and we were in this. It was in Kansas City, and it was this Chinese restaurant, and we were able to use it after hours. The manager, a guy that worked there, hooked it up, who was one of the managers. And when we showed up, the first thing the director asked him, he was like, "Hey, did you let everyone know, or call the authorities and let them know we're shooting a robbery scene?" And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." So we were on like the 6th take, and the one dude was kind of quiet. The other guy that was cast in our little group, and he was like guarding the door. Mm-hmm. And so during the scene, he started yelling, "Cops, cops!" And I was like, "Wow, this guy's finally getting into it. You know, he's finally going like method style." And then I looked, and there, all of a sudden, these cops just broke down the door. Like I had 4 guns pointed at me. And they were like, "Everybody, get the fuck down!" And I was laying down, and I could see the like shoes coming in, and yeah, they like they handcuffed us. They had me handcuffed, like with the pantyhose on, and we kept telling them. Well, the director was like, "Dude, it's a music video. It's a music video," and they still didn't believe it.
Wow.
And so they took off this dude's mask, and he's like a pretty tough looking dude. Then they took off the other dude's mask, and then they took off my mask, and my hair fell like perfectly in front of my face, and they were like, "It's a music video." This dude ain't robbing shit.
Oh my god! I can't believe you got arrested shooting a music video.
It was crazy. Eventually, they
awesome.
unhandcuffed us and were like, you know, like basically like, "Hey, we almost came in here and shot all of you." Like,
yeah, that could.
The media would have been on our side, dude. That would have been your. You know.
Yeah.
But it was crazy, man.
That's insane. And where were you shooting that video at?
Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Afterwards, it was like, I know what you did last summer. Like, we all came together like, "Man, we'll never talk about this. Like, we gotta move on from this." And then the guy who did my Reaper tattoo is in it. And when I went there, when I hung out with him, he's like, "Dude, I tell everybody that story." I was like, "Yeah, how can you not?" So it's been like 7 years now. So I'm like, I'm going to start talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Is this the first time you've talked about it for the most part?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a Sam Session exclusive right there. That's badass. Because, I mean, yeah, that's real rock star shit. If you don't get arrested trying to do your music, man, you got to up the ante some way.
I mean, it's crazy, dude. Having 4 guns or 5 guns pointed at me at once. Like, that was crazy.
I would hope that's the only time.
But there was this really wild part of me that, you know, enjoyed it. It was kind of this, like, part of me. Especially once I realized we weren't going to get killed. You know? There was a certain excitement to it. Like, maybe in a past life I was involved in some stuff like that. But
you're a train robber or something.
Yeah, it was crazy,
in the Old West. Yeah, I mean, when you get a real good adrenaline pump like that, you're not going to find that from any, you know, recreational drug or anything.
Oh,
that's
like,
raw.
It's like, what's it called? Point Break, dude.
Yeah.
Surfing and robbing banks.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's gnarly. That's like gnarly to its truest sense. That's awesome. I would hope that's the only time you've had a gun on you.
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I've been touring and like been at a venue, and then someone outside like pulled a gun out and everybody ran.
Yeah.
And so I like hurry up and drove off. That was in Macon, Georgia.
Okay.
You know, because like in my mind, I'm like, I gotta protect my band members, like a father mode or something. Like, but other than that, no guns pointed at me.
Yeah. So, in the making of your album For Louisiana, I noticed that you had and I hope I don't mess up this name, but Jerron Marshall, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. And as well as Adrian Casada. Mm-hmm. And those guys are both involved with Black Pumas, is that correct?
Yeah, and the 2 girls, Angie and Lauren, that sang on the album are the Black Pumas too.
Okay.
So Jerron is from close to where I grew up in Louisiana. And we ended up connecting, and he started playing music with me, playing keys. And then when it came time to record the album with Adrian, I brought Jerron in, and I knew Adrian was gonna like his playing. And so after that, Adrian put him in the Pumas.
Yeah.
I couldn't be upset about it.
Yeah.
I want to see him do well.
So now he was with you before Black Pumas then? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now he's like, you know, touring the world, and he does like, he's an amazing musician.
Yeah.
He does like musical cues for KUT, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Adrian's a good guy too, so I made 2 records with him.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and did Adrian, he was a producer, right?
Yeah, he was. He was a co-producer with Will Walden, the guy playing guitar.
Right.
I've been playing with Will for like 7 years now, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, riding with him. He's been playing guitar with me forever. His dad is a well-known like TV composer. He did the Wonder Years, West Wing theme, all these big shows. So Will has a tasteful playing that's like he complements the song instead of just jerking off all over it. He compliments it, which is what you want for your songs.
Yeah, giving it the Sean once over.
Oh my gosh.
You have like these really cool and well thought out concepts for your music videos. Obviously the robbery scene, and like I brought up the August 29th song, that music video. Do you think a lot of that comes from your earlier acting career?
It does, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in LA, I was like seriously like into like training as an actor. I was in all these, part of these classes, theater groups. I was in some outsider art groups where we'd do like plays in this house and people would sit Indian style. Mm-hmm. I was heavy into that, man. And I feel like Austin has a certain vibe where that's kind of, accepted. I don't know if accepted is a term, but there's a certain outsider artist thing about Austin that I love, kind of like all are welcome type vibe.
Yeah.
And that seems to be why so many people moved here throughout the state of Texas, because that's not the case in other areas of Texas.
Yeah.
So it's nice that that's just a vibe that I find here in Austin that I really like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm born and raised here, and like you kind of brought up earlier, a lot of people like don't like where they grow up at first, and then maybe grow to love it eventually. But I've always loved being here. Austin's
Hell
the
yeah,
fucking
dude.
best.
If I could have grew up here, it'd be the shit. Dude.
Yeah, right. It's great, and it's people talk about like old Austin versus Austin now, and how much change they've seen, and some of them are kind of bitter on it, and I see where they're coming from. But at the same time, you just gotta appreciate what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know that thing about Austin will never die, dude. Like there'll always be cool music, interesting stuff coming out of Austin. Like they can build all the sky risers they want and do this and that, but they'll never kill that though.
Kill the original mood of it, right? No. Yeah, I think I talked a little bit about this with John D. Graham, and he was saying a city is either always dying or growing. And so you want Austin to grow. That's the best way for it to go, because it just means it's not dying.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's all very true.
Yeah, absolutely. So I noticed your Instagram is fucking hilarious, dude.
Thanks, dude.
That's so funny. I don't get to interview many people who do a whole lot of social media. Some of them do a little bit, but yeah, your Instagram's like chock full of like memes that you make yourself and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Does that come from boredom, or you want to have a good social media presence? Or?
It just comes from like the need to like create, even if it's a silly photo of me when I was 15 with like some funny text. It's just like there's just a certain satisfaction I get from making shit that I don't get anywhere else, Yeah, I just love it, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's videos or, the same thing with like recording music, writing music.
It's just another creative outlet.
It's another creative outlet. And the thing about videos and stuff like that on Instagram and whatnot is that you put them out automatically. It's not like a song or an album where I gotta wait like 3 months.
Yeah.
It's like instant, like there it is.
Yeah.
And I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for anybody that doesn't know, it's the Instagram handle Rod Gator 666, right? Follow it there. Where does the 666 come from?
Just me trying to scare off my Christian aunts and all those people. Just trying to keep them to stay away from me.
That's a great way to do it.
And whenever the pro-life movement started again, that was also a way to keep those people away from me.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed, like you have the song Chicken Hawk, and the song about Hurricane Katrina. I think do you also have songs about kind of just like a general racial injustice in Louisiana?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Things like, I think George Floyd has been brought up in your songs before. So for me, for one, I'm too young. I feel like I don't have enough life experience, and I just don't have enough knowledge to like really formulate a solid like take on any of those things without being nervous about it. Like I would.
Sure, it's a very uncomfortable subject.
Right, I would feel very nervous to, especially like write a song about it. So I'm curious, where do you get the drive to write about such sensitive topics?
Just getting more confident in my writing and just growing older and just having more experience with, creating things. And in my early 20s, I probably wouldn't have been able or have the confidence to try to like tackle subject matter like that.
Right.
So it just came with age, really.
Yeah.
And feeling more comfortable in my own skin, really.
Of course, yeah. And I should also say you do it very artistically.
Hey, thanks, man.
It's well done.
Yeah, I grew up in a part of the country that's, there is a lot of racism and there is, that stuff does very much exist down there, and I never liked witnessing it or being a part of. Or, it just those things that I experienced in my childhood, they all came back to me in my adulthood, and the best way for me to process them and deal with them was to like create, like write about them. That was the best way for me to deal with a lot of things, honestly.
Yeah. You musicians tend to kind of deal with problems that they may have through their music, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good outlet for that. Yeah.
I mean, it's the best way. I think I've said this before, but what I would do is just bitch and moan about it, and you guys create something beautiful out of it. So,
thanks, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm curious. You talked about kind of like being surrounded by it growing up. Sometimes we're a product of our environment. Did you find it hard to escape that, or was it easy?
No, it was easy, and a lot of credit goes to my mom, who was a theater teacher. So all the outsiders in the small town and, members of the gay community, they all sort of go towards the theater department because, like I was saying about Austin, all are welcome there.
Yeah.
There's no judgment. You can be who you want to be there. It's kind of home of, like I said, the outsiders. So having my mom and her perspective and, being around all of that community from such a young age, it really helped sculpt me into the adult that I became.
Yeah.
Even the teenager I was always a pretty open-minded kid,
Yeah, it's important to be. I think everyone should be born in the sense of like should have that open-mindedness as they're young, and then.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people because they don't have a parental figure or a figure in their life that has those views, and when everyone has the same views in your community, then you don't really know anything else. So I lucked out with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think you should give yourself some credit too. Like I said,
Thanks,
you talk about it in a very artistic way, which is really cool to see.
Thanks.
And easily digestible as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's really cool to hear about. Sometimes, like when we do these Sam sessions, it's like we're just trying to have fun and a good time. But I also like really enjoy being able to talk about something that matters.
Yeah, it's
too.
important, man. Like we all like to have a good time, and there's it's important to hit those subjects too.
Absolutely. So I think for the next part of the show, we'll go to this or that.
Okay.
So basically kind of get an idea of a little bit about you outside of the music. Some music-centric stuff, but give you two options, and the first one that comes to your mind, just jump on it.
Okay, cool.
Sweet. Let me grab my little cheat sheet here. You watch sports at all?
Yeah.
UFC or boxing?
Boxing.
Baseball or football?
Football.
Yeah. What's your favorite sport?
I mean, I love the sport of boxing. It's an all-American classic. I love the fact. I mean, this is with a lot of sports, but people that grew up in, rough parts of the country or whatever, it gives them an opportunity to leave all that behind. And the sport of boxing, I just love reading about all the greats and Muhammad Ali and all the culture change he was there for, and I love all that stuff, man.
Yeah, it's rooted in the history.
It's rooted in the history, dude.
Yeah. Do you like to cook or go out to eat?
Go out.
Yeah.
Pete Terry's, yeah.
Pete Terry's?
I'm a regular, dude. I got the dude who works the doors number and stuff, and we're like buddies, and he hooks it up.
No way.
Yeah.
I worked at a Pete Terry's for a little while in high school, and I'll say usually when you work at a restaurant or fast food place, you don't tend to eat there very much after you work there because you see what goes down behind the scenes. Pete Terry's is fucking off the chain.
Yeah,
dude. They're
it's
great.
A nice place. Dude.
Yeah, get us a sponsor from that place.
Yeah, I'm so down with them.
Yeah, they're awesome. Like I said, even working there, it's all pretty legit. I mean, super legit for fast food. So that's good. And also, not enough people know about Pete Terry's outside of Texas.
Yeah, it's not really talked about that much. It's
not.
Also fresh too. It doesn't have that I mean, people love Whataburger, and there's a lot of things I love about it too, but I don't feel very good after I eat.
Yeah, you don't.
After I eat Pete Terry's, I don't feel like I have a brick.
Yeah.
In my stomach.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a different vibe, dude. But no hate against Whataburger.
Yeah. So check this out. Have you ever been to Taco Ranch?
No.
So there's only one location. It's owned by the same people who own Pete Terry's, but it's like a taco spot, quesadillas, burritos, tacos.
That's cool.
It's right over off 290. Please
I'll
go
check
there.
that out, dude. That's a good tip.
Go there and let me know what you think. I put my brother onto it. He goes there twice a week now.
I'll check it out,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
cool.
good stuff. Let's see. Would you rather have an apartment in the city or a house in the country?
Oh man, that's kind of tough. I like having a house in the country, but then I don't have access to like the Alamo Draft House and all that. I gotta like drive, and the thing
Hmm.
about having an apartment in the city is I'm kind of have access to all those places I like going to.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
Alamo Draft House, dude. Terror Tuesdays, Weird Wednesdays. I'm always up in that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Hmm.
Are you if you're maybe a good friend or someone you're involved with romantically, would you rather talk to them on the phone or text?
Uh, I mean, on the phone is always more personable. I guess if I don't know. It depends what the context of the conversation is, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody texts now more than they talk on the phone, but
Mm.
whenever you talk on the phone, there is like, it's like, oh yeah, that's why I like this.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Coffee or tea?
Uh, I mean, I love caffeine, and tea doesn't have enough caffeine to get me going, but I drink tea with meals, but I don't know. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose coffee just because you need that caffeine buzz, dude.
That's a cold brew enthusiast over there,
You need the
man.
caffeine buzz. Without it, I'm just kind of useless, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Or I'm not really happy about it either.
Have you spent much time in Nashville at all?
Yeah, I mean, I played there and spent time there. I've had some wild experiences there. I was there the night of the 2016 election, which was crazy. I was playing that night when that all happened.
Wow.
But yeah, man. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but I'll pick Austin any day over Nashville.
You saw exactly where I was going, yeah? Austin,
I mean,
Nashville.
not even a competition, honestly, dude.
Hell yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a diverse music scene there, but the country scene is just thrown into your face, and I just can't be around all that. Like,
Yeah.
all those billboards of like all those dudes, and
So many cowboy hats.
yeah, it'd be too much, dude.
Yeah.
But I respect the old history of it, but
Yeah.
you know,
Do you read at all?
of course,
So do you like reading a book or listening to an audiobook?
I like reading books.
Yeah?
I've read books ever since I was a kid. It's kind of like, you know, I'm a big film buff, and there's something about reading a book that's equally as satisfying to me.
Okay.
So the new record that I'm gonna start recording soon, it's got this like sword and sorcery kind of vibe. And it's because I got heavy into Robert E. Howard, Conan the Barbarian stories from the
Yeah.
30s,
Okay.
and I got heavy into that. So writing influences a lot of what I do for sure. I mean, reading.
Mm-hmm. Is
So-
there any kind of time frame we could expect that next record?
Well, I'm gonna start recording it this month, so hopefully not too long from now.
That's awesome.
It's been written for a while.
Yeah.
It's got like a heavy kind of stoner metal vibe to it. I've been heavy into metal like the last 5 years, but I never thought about actually trying to like, you know, record anything with that vibe. But though
Yeah.
the more I think about it, like you're saying about Chicken Hawk and stuff like that, there is a certain heaviness and hardness to those songs where I don't think it's that big of a stretch.
Yeah. No, I'm psyched to hear that. That's going to be awesome.
I got heavy into Sabbath. It's like Swamp Sabbath.
Yeah.
Swamp core.
Yeah. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that.
Cool.
You said you're a movie buff. What's like the top 3 movies that I should go see that I have to see?
Mm-hmm.
What would they be?
I'm gonna say Badlands is number 1, Taxi Driver's number 2, and if I have to choose a more modern movie, probably a movie called Moonlight, I would choose.
Moonlight?
Yeah,
Okay, so I haven't seen any of those 3.
yeah,
So
check them out.
I'll have to check.
I tried to do the most diverse group
Yeah.
of movies I could. Like, you know, I mean, those aren't like I could never choose my top 3, but those are the ones that came to my top of my head.
Mhm.
They're all really good.
Yeah, I definitely am super into movies. I don't know if I could say movie buff by any means, but I love them. And so, yeah, whenever I get suggestions like that, it's fun to check
I love
them
it
out.
all, dude. I'm a huge B movie, like 80s horror fan. Like,
Oh, yeah?
I love like a lot of movies people would consider like unwatchable or bad. There's something like art house about those movies to me too.
Okay.
Like the practical effects of the 80s and all that horror stuff. I'm a huge horror dude too.
Hell yeah. Okay, so last one I have here, or we'll do 2 more.
Okay.
Movies or TV shows?
Man, TV shows are like just as good as movies nowadays, but I'm gonna choose movies. But
Yeah, just for the originality of it. Gotcha. What's your favorite TV show?
man, it's hard to choose. There's so many great shows over the years. I really like that. It was only 1 season, but Freaks and Geeks is a great
Yeah.
series. You should revisit. That was
Yeah.
really good, dude.
That one's awesome.
It's
That
very
was
like I don't know, it just puts me in a certain mood.
it seems really raw and authentic in a way.
Yeah.
But, I was put on to that by my actually film history teacher in high school.
Oh, that's cool.
And he
Y'all
literally
had film
just,
history in high school? I wish we had that.
Yeah,
Right.
it was awesome for the most part. That was one of the best things that came out of it, because for like 2 weeks he's like, we're gonna watch the whole season of this show, and that's what we're doing for class. And so like,
Damn.
we're already stoked on that, and then it ends up being this like super cool show that
Yeah.
everyone enjoyed.
Dang, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a
Another
good
reason living in Austin would be the shit, dude.
Mhm.
You're watching Freaks and Geeks in high school.
time. For class, getting
God.
graded for it, you know.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then last one here, debit or credit?
Debit, so I don't have to worry about it later.
Yeah, there you go. I like debit as well. I also can't get approved for a credit card. Not that that has to do with me.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried to get one in so long that, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, it's just too much stress, dude.
Yeah.
I hate owing money. It freaks me out.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a good way to think about it, because then you don't end up owing money all the time.
Yeah.
Man, Ron, I can't thank you enough for doing this. This seriously was. This was so
Predator
much fun.
Shake, dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, you know that movie Predator?
Yes, I know of it. I haven't seen it.
There's a scene where they shake like this.
Yeah? Like that? All right. See, but you have big arms and shit. I just look so
Yours are
like...
pretty good, dude. Don't count yourself out, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna zoom right in on that.
Just like the triple the size there. Oh man. Seriously though, Rob, that was a really, really great time, and I enjoyed everything
Thanks,
you're willing
man.
to
You
talk
do a
about.
great job. Don't
I-
sell yourself short, dude. You do a great job.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you're willing, if we can keep you a little bit longer, I'd love to hear you play something
Yeah, I'll
simple.
play a little something simple. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Well, he walks outside and lights up a smoke, takes one puff and begins to choke. Well, I guess it's been a while. And across the street sits an old tomcat, can't see what it's looking at. There must be a bird up in that tree. Well, the cat lies down and licks its lips, 'cause high above success sits. Well, ain't that the truth? Well, he walks inside, picks up his guitar, tries to write, but he don't get far. This one is worse than the last, he thinks. Stands in the door where his love lies, sweetest thing neath these old skies. Well, how'd I manage that? He wonders. 'Cause out of all the boys, she chose me. No great job, no college degree. I guess she just has better taste is all. They talk about the future and don't it feel good for once in your life to be understood? He takes off his boots and lies beside her. Together they lie on a queen-size bed, and on his shoulder she places her head. And he drifts off to dream. Well, this dream takes place in the South. He's back in his grandma's house. She says, boy, I got something to show you. Well, this is your great uncle who fought in the war. Don't he look like a movie star? And that sweet little girl there, that's your mama. We had missed her laugh, he had missed her smile. She passed away when he was a child. Together they sit and watch the sun. Well, he awakes with tears in his eyes, grabs a smoke and walks outside. He sits right down on the porch. He says dreams are for kids, that we all know. And ain't it time I started to grow? Well, I guess I just miss home. Then across the street came that old tomcat, and right by his feet it sat, with a mouth full of feathers.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.